9, but it will be debate number 1 for Michael Bloomberg, making his very first appearance on that stage. And with his recent rise in the polls, how will his contenders attack him? We bring in Democratic strategist David Morey and Republican strategist John Thomas. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren.
John, how are they going to attack Mayor Bloomberg?
How aren't they? The leading Democratic contenders are frothing at this contrast tonight. Bernie's been waiting for this contrast his entire life to run against the billionaire of all billionaires. And look, we've seen over this last week that there's been an opposition research dump on Mike Bloomberg, from assaulting the gray matter of farmers to the intelligence of young people to his policy on stop and frisk. This is going to be a minefield for Mike Bloomberg to navigate tonight.
And which talking point there, which line of attack, David, do you expect them to use the most as they, form a fire squad around Mayor Bloomberg?
Well, welcome to Thunderdome. It's so far the most pivotal event in the campaign so far.
Yeah, something could happen tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Something could happen on this stage that determines the presidency. That's literally true. Bloomberg's going to be in the firing squad, and he's going to be surrounded, as you say, by incoming fire. John's right. But look, there's no surprise attacks here. He knows who's going to say what. Number two, Bloomberg is prepared. Don't kid yourself. He's been practicing, rehearsing. Bloomberg has got a very smart campaign team around him. They're not going to be unprepared going into this debate. He's a little rusty, hasn't debated since 2009, but he'll be ready. It'll be fascinating.
Yeah, but the other 5 men and women on that stage, John, have had 8 previous debates. Right. And take a look at this. If you look at the number of TV interviews his contenders have done this month alone, 24 for Mayor Pete Buttigieg. So Mayor Bloomberg is going to come across as being a little bit rusty, no?
Well, and that's it. There's no replacement for time in the debate stage, and the stakes couldn't be higher here. I mean, look, I think Bloomberg, to some degree, is looking forward to the contrast. I think his strategy going into tonight is pretty simple. First, do no harm. And second, go to war and make this a 2-man contest between Bernie and himself, leaving everybody else in the dust. If he can do that, I think this will be a success for him.
But there's a question of enthusiasm, and you have the enthusiasm in 2 places. On the Democratic side, David, you have it with Bernie Sanders, and you have it on the Trump side. If you look at a Monmouth University recent poll, 2/3 of Americans believe Donald Trump gets reelected. If you look at the New Hampshire primary, David, he got almost 130,000 votes, basically over double what President Obama, what George W. Bush got in that primary during their reelection bids. Money can't buy enthusiasm, or can it?
No, money cannot. It can, but $300 million can buy you a place on the stage tonight. Bloomberg just can't contradict that paid media. And as John is saying, I agree with John, Bloomberg's going to have to survive the incoming. Bernie Sanders is going to have a very interesting debate because all of a sudden he has a foil. The truth is Bloomberg's better positioned, I think, to beat Trump as the sort of more competent outsider versus Sanders and all that progressive energy. One more quick point. 12% get pulled away from Sanders. That's the Warren vote. 32% get pulled away, hypothetically, from Bloomberg. That's Biden, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar, the so-called moderate vote. So, it's the sort of moderate center lane beating Trump versus the progressives. We'll see how it all shakes out tonight to see if they have a chance to try and do so.
And, John, who do you think the eventual nominee is going to be to take on President Trump? Moderate or left?
I got to think this reminds me a lot of 2016 in the primary when they said Trump had a ceiling where he couldn't make it. So I think at this point, Bernie Sanders is probably the nominee. I don't want to call it yet, but things are trending in that direction. And I just don't know. I'm very short on Bloomberg. I think he can go the distance, but I don't think he can create that enthusiasm. You need more than money to do it, and his past statements, I think, are going to handicap him.
Yeah.
John?
On the other hand, the Democrats want to win so badly. That's automatic energy.
All right. We'll see. Gentlemen, thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right. We're looking at a kickoff to your Wednesday markets, and we've actually got green arrows on the screen. If you look to your right,